What's up guys, Lon here from Android Authority, and as you guys may already know, we go through a lot of phones here. So when it comes to the question of what is our daily driver, we technically don't really have one, at least not in the traditional sense where we may use a phone for a year, 2 years, or even longer. And because we're constantly switching phones, my definition of a daily driver is a little bit different. What I consider a daily driver is a phone that I always end up defaulting back to or going back to once I'm done reviewing another phone, or if I'm not reviewing a phone at all, this will be the phone that I use. And the phone that I'm going to be using as my daily driver, at least for the foreseeable future, is going to be the Galaxy S8. More specifically, the S8 Plus, and here are 5 reasons why. Cue that intro! So reason number 1 is the display, and this wouldn't be an S8 video if we didn't talk about that screen. I know you guys have probably heard it 100 times over by now, but it really is an incredible looking display. Samsung just knows how to make good screens, and it is hands down the best display on a smartphone right now. The colors are amazing, it's extremely bright, vibrant, and full of contrast, and I love the way the glass spills over on the sides. Samsung's definitely come a long way since the experiment that was the Note Edge, and on the S8/S8 Plus, it's something you have to see in person to truly appreciate. Personally, I prefer the larger screen of the S8 Plus because I think it's more immersive for games and videos. I know some people may feel differently because the extra screen real estate makes the phone way too big, but honestly, it's not that much different in size from other phones like the Pixel XL, the iPhone 7 Plus, or the LG V20. In some ways, it's actually smaller, especially in terms of its width, and on top of that, it has a larger screen than all of those phones, so I think the larger screen is totally worth it, even if it does make the phone slightly wider and taller. The design of this phone is what allows the screen to stand out, and that leads me to reason number 2. The design complements the screen extremely well, the curves look and feel very sleek, and it's a perfectly symmetrical design all the way around. What I really love about this phone though is the way it looks from the front. These super thin bezels are amazing of course, but I was a huge fan of Nexus devices, and the front reminds me a lot of what a Nexus phone would look like. There's no logos, no buttons or branding to muck up the front, it's just a super clean look, and although it most likely won't happen, I wouldn't be mad if Google used this design for the next Pixel. Reason number 3 is the software, and I never thought I'd say this, but I actually really like the software on the Galaxy S8. For years, Samsung's software has felt like a cluttered mess on top of Android, but ever since the Galaxy S6, Samsung has made a ton of improvements, and it finally feels like the software actually matches the great hardware that Samsung has been putting out. The new Samsung experience actually feels like it meshes and complements Android really well, whereas older versions felt like an unnecessary layer of fat that was clunky, overwhelming, and made Android really cumbersome to use. I love the new clean and minimalistic approach that Samsung is going for here. The new icons are refreshing to look at, and everything is mostly black and white with just a splash of color in areas like the notification shade and settings menu. It's a stark contrast from old versions of TouchWiz that were heavily coated in nasty greens and blues. There's a lot of attention to detail here, and it's the little things that make the biggest difference, like the swipe up gesture to open the app drawer that makes it feel more like a Pixel, or the ability to change the order of the navigation buttons, which is great because Samsung's implementation always felt completely backwards when they were using hardware keys. Samsung software does still come with quite a bit of features, but some of them are useful and none of them ever feel invasive, and if you don't want them, you can simply just turn it off. What I enjoy the most is the amount of customization that's built into the software now. The theme engine is still just as awesome as ever and allows you to tweak pretty much everything from the icons, wallpapers, and the color scheme of the general interface. The always-on display is more robust than ever now, and even this can be customized with a ton of high-quality themes or an image from your gallery. Reason number 4 why the S8 Plus is my daily driver are the extra hardware features, and Samsung always does a really great job of including extra hardware on their phones like IP68 dust and water resistance, wireless charging, and expandable storage. And while I may not use these features every single day, I do appreciate them and would rather have them there than not have them at all, and I think that everyone that buys this phone will find them either useful right away or somewhere down the line during their time of owning one. Usually Bluetooth is not worth mentioning, but it is here for the Galaxy S8 because it's one of the first devices to ship with Bluetooth 5, which brings a host of new improvements like 2 times the speed, 4 times the range, and the ability to link up 2 Bluetooth devices at once. Last but not least, my 5th reason for choosing the S8 Plus as my daily driver is the camera. Samsung isn't doing anything fancy with their camera, but you can always rely on Samsung's cameras to deliver a good picture in almost every situation. The dual pixel autofocus is still easily one of my favorite features about this camera, simply because of how fast and accurately it can focus on a subject, and a faster autofocus means you'll snap photos much quicker and take a lot more of them. Speaking of autofocus, the front-facing camera also now features autofocus, and while I don't think the front camera is amazing in terms of quality, it is a nice feature to have, and I like the Snapchat S features that are built in, which makes the front camera a lot of fun to use. And that pretty much rounds out my 5 reasons why the S8 Plus is my daily driver. The screen is gorgeous, the build is amazing, and I certainly don't mind the bigger size in favor of the extra screen real estate. It also checks all the right boxes in terms of performance, specs, and overall features, and certainly lives up to the hype and the hefty price tag. It's not a perfect smartphone, no smartphone is, but you just have to find the right smartphone that fulfills the majority of your wants and needs, and for me, the S8 Plus does exactly that. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let us know which one you chose. Did you choose the S8 or the S8 Plus? Leave a comment down below, or did you choose something else entirely? Let us know that as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel, which is down below if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell while you're at it so you don't miss out on future videos. And as always, check us out on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Google+, all that good stuff will be linked down below. And check out the website as well, AndroidAuthority.com, because we are your source for all things Android.